We're not talking about taking away the very right of the individual, no, no. We're just talking about being happy and free. We're not talking about taking away the very right of the individual, no, no. We're just talking about being happy and free. We're not talking about taking away the very right of the individual, no, no. We're just talking about being happy and free. Check it out. United we'll be standing.
Hello, students and families, and welcome to the Oakland Museum of California's Black History Virtual Performance. My name is Kelly, and I'm an educator here at the museum. And today, we have SoVoSó, an Oakland-based a cappella group who will lead us on a musical journey through Black history. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope you enjoy the celebration.
Hello, everyone. We are from the soul to the voice to the song, SoVoSó. And we are a vocal band from Oakland, California. We're so excited to be here with you to celebrate today because you know this month is a very special month. Do you know what it is we're celebrating? What is it? That's right, Black History Month. But guess what? Black History Month isn't just a month. It's every day and every year, and we can celebrate this beautiful history every single day together. So that's what this is about today. We are celebrating Black history through the lens of music. Why music? Because music is a universal language that everybody speaks, right? And so we're gonna kick this off by going way back to the beginning. So you all ready? I said, are you ready? Okay, let's go.
All right, here we go. We're going to go all the way back to the beginning. So we're going to go back to Africa, all the way back to Africa. Now, in Africa, they have different, gatherings and ceremonies and things like that. And when they do, they like to sing all the time. So we're going to sing a song that's a gathering song that comes from West Africa. It's called Funga Alafia. You ever hear that song? The words are real easy. Repeat after me. Funga Alafia.
Funga Alafia.
Ashe, ashe.
Ashe, ashe.
Funga Alafia.
Funga Alafia.
Ashe, ashe.
Ashe, ashe.
Pretty simple stuff, right? I'll sing the melody for you. That's like how the song goes. Funga Alafia. Ashe, ashe. Funga Alafia. Ashe, ashe. That's it. Real simple.
We got it.
First time you go ashe, ashe, you kind of go up. And the second time you go ashe, ashe, you kind of go down. All right? We're going to add some drums. Are you ready? You can move your body if you feel like it. 1, 2, here we go. Funga Alafia, ashe, ashe. Funga Alafia, ashe, ashe. Funga Alafia, ashe, ashe. Funga Alafia, ashe, ashe. Again. Funga Alafia, ashe, ashe. Funga Alafia, ashe, ashe. One more time. Funga Alafia, ashe, ashe. Funga Alafia, ashe, ashe. That was fun, wasn't it? Now, Africa, music is such a large part of African culture. You have the drum, you have people singing, and you have people dancing. And I'll tell you, it's really true that people do play and sing all the time. I was in Africa a couple of years ago, and we went to a small village. And so my group, we got off the bus, and we started walking into the village, and you could hear the drums in the background. You hear them playing, like, whoa, what's going on? Then you start to hear the voices, people singing. And then, as we got closer, you see the dancers. People are dancing, singing, playing drums. Doesn't matter how old or how young they are. The grandmothers and the little granddaughters, they were dancing together. And you see a father and a son playing drums. And you see a husband and a wife, and they're singing together. The whole family is enjoying music. That's the culture of Africa. That's the way it was a long time ago, and that's the way it still is today. Now, unfortunately, something bad happened a long time ago, and you've probably heard of it before. It's called slavery. Yes, that's when people from different countries They came in, they took the Africans out of Africa, and they brought them to different places all over the world. Not just the United States, but they were brought to other places too. And they were made slaves. That's a horrible thing to be, right? So, when slaves were brought to America, of course, they had to work on these farms, or what were called plantations. And they worked, and of course, they had no rights. They had no money. They had to work long, horrible hours. It was a horrible thing to be stuck in slavery. But, you know, the slaves, in order to try to pass the time, maybe they would play some music, and they would sing together, just like they would do in Africa. But what happened was, the slave masters found out that they were using this drum to communicate with one another. Because this drum, it's kind of like a voice also. So people could play the drum in one part of the village, and somebody else could hear it over there, and it meant something. You might hear a, and then you might hear another response coming back. And these drum signals kind of meant something, and they could communicate with one another without actually talking. Now, the slave masters found out that they were communicating with one another, so they took the drum away from the Africans. So once they took the drum, how do you think they communicated with one another? They used their voice, of course. Right. They would sing, but they couldn't be real obvious, like, we want to escape, we want to get away, because they'd get in trouble and they'd get caught. So they would sing songs, and in these songs, they would have hidden messages. Or if you listen to the words real closely, there was a line in the song, and if you listen to those words, it would tell you what was going to happen. So right now, we're going to sing a little song called Down by the Riverside. You may have heard it before. And we're going to have Luke Mon. He's going to lead that song and tell you guys a little something about it, okay?
Are you guys ready to do some communication with us? I can't hear you. Are you ready to sing with SoVoSó?
I hope they are.
All right.
Oh, all right.
Let's see. We're going to do a little call and response, okay? So, when I sing, then you respond, all right? It's going to go like this. I'm going to lay down my burdens. You sing down by the riverside, down by the riverside.
That's right.
Down by the riverside, I'm gonna lay down my burdens. You sing down by the riverside. Study no more. I think you got it. I think you got it.
That's right.
Are you ready to sing with us for real now?
Come on.
We want to hear you, all right? Here we go. I'm gonna lay down my burdens down by the riverside, down by the river. Whoa, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my burdens down by the riverside. Study no more. I ain't gonna study no more. I ain't gonna study no more. Study no more. Study no more. I ain't gonna study no more. Study no more. Ooh, that feels so good. I want to do it again, okay? You guys want to do it one more time with us? Let me hear you say yes. All right. All right.
Here we go.
I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by. Okay, you know what?
Come on.
Check this out. On this one, I want you to do the 2 and the 4, okay? I want you to clap on the 2 and the 4. That's 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 2.
That's right.
I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the river. down
by the riverside.
yeah, down by.
The riverside.
Oh, I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside. Study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Oh, study war no more. Oh, study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more.
All right.
Come on. Give yourselves a hand.
Okay. Woo! Down by the riverside. Fantastic job singing, everybody. So, listening to that song, what do you think the hidden message could have been? Listening to the lyrics, that's the words of the song. What do you think the hidden message could have been? If I have to think about it, what do you think? Like maybe, I'm gonna lay down my burdens down by the riverside. That might mean we're gonna meet down by the riverside tonight to escape. That's the place we're gonna meet tonight, down by the riverside. So, if the slaves gathered down by the riverside and escaped, how would they get away? Where would they go?
How do they do it?
There was a lady who was responsible for helping many slaves escape. Do you know her name? I bet you do. Say it with me on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Harriet Tubman.
That's right,
That's right.
Harriet Tubman. She was so great, they made a movie about her, and right now, they're thinking of putting her face on the $20 bill. That's right, Harriet Tubman. She helped many slaves escape through, what? The Underground Railroad. That's right. Now, the Underground Railroad was a big train that people got on, and they went choo-choo, and they got on the train, and they all traveled to freedom,
that's
right?
not what that was.
No, I was just playing around. That's not how they escaped. The slaves, so once they got away, they would take a trail, or there was a route that the slaves would take. And there were a bunch of what were called safe houses. These were people who, they also didn't like slavery, and they wanted to help the slaves escape. So along this route to freedom, which was in the northern part of the United States, and all the way up to Canada, along the way, you may go 10, 20, 30 miles, and you find one of these safe houses, and it may have a special lamp that was in the window or some kind of sign telling you that this was a safe place to stay. And they would go there, and you sneak in, and you get in, and then you get something to eat, and then you could rest, and then the next day, you get up and do the same thing. Travel another 10, 20, 30 miles till you get another safe house. And they did that over and over again until they reached freedom. Now, right now, we're going to sing a little song, kind of tells the story of Harriet Tubman. So I want you to listen to the words closely, all right? Here we go.
Can everybody pat their chest real gentle, like this with me? That's right. Now you're the heartbeat of the song, so keep that going, okay? One night I dreamt I was in slavery. 1850 was the time. Sorrow was the only sign. Nothing around to ease my mind. And out of the night appeared a lady leading a distant pilgrim band. First mate, she said, pointing her hand, lifting me up and took my hand. She said, come on up, I got a lifeline. Come on up to this train of mine. Come on up, I got a lifeline. Come on up to this train of mine. She said her name was Harriet Tubman, and she drove on the Underground Railroad. traveled onward, gathering slaves from town to town, seeking every lost and found, setting those free who once were bound. Somehow my heart was feeling weaker, fell by the wayside sinking sand, but firmly did this lady stand. She lifted me up and she took my hand. She said, come on up, I got a lifeline. Come on up to this train of mine. Come on up, I got a lifeline. Come on up to this train of mine. She said her name was Harriet Tubman, and she drove on the Underground Railroad. Do 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 do. Come on up. Thank you so much for taking that journey with us. It's wonderful to be able to sing songs like Lifeline because they really tell a story of a true American hero. You know, Harriet Tubman is one of my heroes because she really enabled us to even stand here with each other today. Without Harriet Tubman, where would we be, right? So as we travel through this story and this show together, I want to talk a little bit about migration. And what is migration? Have you heard of that word? Well, migration means when large groups of people move from one place to the other. And so as the slaves were able to free themselves and find their freedom, they ended up in places that some of them, I'm sure you are well aware of. There is an area of the East Coast known as the Coastal Carolinas. South Carolina, North Carolina, even Georgia. And in that area, many slaves were able to find their freedom and carry with them their own traditions. In this area of the Coastal Carolinas, there is a people called the Gullah people. And the Gullah people had beautiful songs and recipes for delicious food and very unique costumes and clothing that they would wear. And those costumes and traditions still exist today. In fact, there's even a band that's called Ranky Tanky. And that song was named after a tradition by the Gullah people. So we still sing that song, Ranky Tanky, and these traditions are so important to keep. And so as the story continues on and as we tell our stories about migration, I wanted to ask Lukman if maybe he would share about how his family, his ancestors got here.
The story of how part of the story of how my family got here is journeying from the southern part of the United States to the northern part of the United States. My grandparents on my father's side came from Louisiana and journeyed all the way over here to El Cerrito and then later settled in Albany, California. Some of you might be from there. And then on my mother's side, my grandparents came all the way from Arkansas and Florida and found their way to Berkeley, California. And thus, I am from Berkeley, California. It was here where they found work in the canneries, in the post office, and in the Navy shipyards in Richmond, California.
That's right. We all have a story. Mine is kind of similar to Luke's. My family also came from the South. My father, he came from Louisiana. My mom came from Arkansas. Their parents decided to come out west after the war because out here, they felt they could raise their families. They felt a lot safer because, like Sunshine was saying earlier, slavery had been over for a long time. But, you know, African Americans still didn't have their rights. Like even there were places in the South where if you wanted to go to a restaurant and eat, they wouldn't let you in. Or if you wanted to go to a hotel because you had been traveling all night and you wanted a place to sleep, a lot of the hotels, they wouldn't let you stay there. So my family migrated out here to California. They came out to Oakland, California, and here in Oakland, they found out that they could own their own home, that they could start their own business, they could send their kids to school, and they felt safe with that. Because there was a booming scene that was happening right here in Oakland. A lot of people from the South were coming out to Oakland because they heard that things were good out here. Have you ever been down by West Oakland BART station or the main post office down in that area? Down there in West Oakland? That area used to be a big booming area. There used to be clubs and there used to be restaurants and shopping and all this stuff. It was a bustling area. It was like going to downtown Oakland like on a busy Friday or Saturday night or something. All along that area and all these great musicians would come. B.B. King and Ray Charles and Ella Fitzgerald and all these great artists would come to Oakland to perform because they felt safe here, that they could perform here, they could do a show and perform for their own people. So even though all these great things were happening, there was still, African Americans were still fighting for their rights because things weren't equal everywhere in the country. Things were a little better here, but in the South, things were still kind of bad. And things were kind of happening here too. So that led to what was called the Civil Rights Movement. The Civil Rights Movement is a movement where African Americans were standing up. You had people like Martin Luther King, and you had Rosa Parks, and all these other great people who were helping to fight for the rights of African Americans. Now, speaking of Rosa Parks, there's a little song about Rosa Parks. Now, we're going to sing a little bit of that song just to give her the honor and the praise that she deserves. And you know what? I actually met Rosa Parks. That's right. I'm that old. That's right. I've actually met Rosa Parks before. I got to sing this song with my old group for Rosa Parks many, many years ago. We're going to sing a little bit for you right now.
Thank you, Miss Rosa. You are the spark. You started our freedom movement. I wanna thank you, Sister Rosa Parks. Can you sing along? Thank you, Miss Rosa. You are the spark. You started our freedom movement. I wanna thank you, Sister Rosa Parks. One more time, come on. Thank you, Miss Rosa. You are the spark. You started our freedom movement. I wanna thank you, Sister Rosa Parks. I wanna thank you, Sister Rosa Parks. I wanna thank you, Sister Rosa Parks. That's right. Yeah. You see, throughout history, throughout all of these important moments, the civil rights movement, Black Power movement, there were songs, there were anthems that went along with what the people were trying to do, what the people were trying to say. And what were they trying to say? You see, it was very simple. It was, I matter. I'm beautiful. Wait, can you say that? I matter. I'm beautiful. That's right. And that was the message of this period as we walk through history with music. The songs tell the story of what the people were trying to say. Songs like Give the People What They Want by artists such as Aretha Franklin, and fast forwarding through the 1970s with so many great bands like even Sly and Family Stone. You might recognize this one, but it was still a little something like this. Thank you for letting me be myself again. Oh yeah. Sing it with me. Thank you for letting me be myself again. One more time. Thank you for letting me be myself again. Won't be love taking. Come on. Thank you for letting me be myself again. Come on. Come on. Beautiful, and I was born this way. Damn beautiful, beautifully made. Well, beautifully made. Oh yeah, beautifully made. Oh yeah, get down. Give it up for Be Love for Brian now. Yeah.
Woo! Thank you very much,
Very
everybody.
nice.
So you guys know what that's called, right? Beatboxing. Beatboxing is very popular nowadays. Back a long time ago when I was doing this stuff, man, people looked at me like I was crazy. But now everybody's beatboxing everywhere I go. You know, beatboxing has a long tradition. It goes right back to the beginning of rap and hip-hop music. You know, when kids were sitting around and they wanted to make some music and they didn't have a lot of money, to buy all these. Now you got all this fancy equipment and computers. They didn't have all that stuff that they could do music on. So they're just sitting on the stoop, sitting outside, and one guy says, hey man, I want to sing a song. I got this rhyme that I made up. Give me a beat. So a guy would use his voice to make the sounds of a drum set. So that's what I'm going to teach you right now, how to honor that great tradition of making music by beatboxing. And we're going to take a little course called Beatbox 101. Now, in this course, you're going to learn the basic elements of the drum set and how to make those sounds. We're going to start with the bass drum. The bass drum is a big round drum that sits on the floor, lays on the side. Drummer plays it with a foot pedal. Now, how do you get that sound? Actually, it's pretty simple. Have you ever eaten a sunflower seed before? Most people have eaten a sunflower seed at some point in their life, right? You take that seed, pop it in your mouth, crack it open, spit out the shell, not the seed. You eat the seed and you spit out the shell, right? Now, when you make that sound, kind of sounds like our bass drum sound. Spitting out that seed. Now, you don't have to be too careful, but you don't want to make a whole lot of not like that. It shouldn't be wet sounding. Yeah, that's kind of gross, right? So just a nice little sound. I'll do it and then you do it. Here we go. Very good. The next instrument we're going to look at is the hi-hat. The hi-hat are these two cymbals that face each other. They're sideways and they face each other, and they sit at either the right-hand side or the left-hand side of the drummer, depending if they're right-handed or left-handed. Drummer plays it with a stick. Very easy sound. It's a T sound. Real simple. Or you can open those cymbals. Remember I said it's two cymbals. There's a foot pedal, and you can open those cymbals and go. All right, we got two instruments. We got the bass drum, we got our hi-hat. The last one we're going to look at is the snare drum. The snare drum sits on top of the bass drum, traditionally. Drummer plays it with a stick, and they call it a snare drum because on the bottom of the drum, there are these things called snares. These little pieces of metal that drape across the drum, and when the drummer hits it with a stick, it shakes and it vibrates. And you get that rattling kind of sound. Now, how do you get that sound? That sounds a little more difficult. I want you to use your imagination. It's now the middle of summer. No, better yet, it's the last day of school. How's that? It's the last day of school, so it's kind of warm outside. You guys decide we're going to have a nice big pool party. This is like the old days, right? So you're going to have this big old pool party. Everybody swimming in the swimming pool, and you're having a good time, and you're lounging, and you decide you want to go to the deep end of the pool. So you go to the deep end of the pool, and you dig all the way down. You swim all the way down to the bottom because you see something shiny and glistening down there. What is it? It's money. So you're picking up the coins, and you're putting them in your swim trunks and holding them in your hands, and you've been underwater for 30 seconds, and what do you need? Air, of course. We're not fish. So you swim up, and you swim up, and you come and you crest the water. You come above that water level, and you take a big, deep breath. Oh, but not like that. You ever get water in your lungs, down your throat or something, and you're coughing and choking? So you purse your lips. You have them together tight, and you go. Like an inhale. Your lips are together, and you pop them, and you breathe in. Kind of like that. I'll try it, and then you try it. Here we go. Now, that sounds a little more difficult to make. Everybody's lips can't make that sound, or you have to practice. You can also do a K sound, like that if you want to. So we have our three sounds, the bass drum, our hi-hat, and the snare. Let's put those three sounds together in this order. Come on.
That's right, you got it.
And faster. And faster.
Keep going now, that's right.
And faster. And faster. Super fast.
Come on. You can dance. Give yourselves a hand.
That's right. You've all passed Beatbox 101. Great job,
Very
everybody.
good, very good. Good job. We want to thank you so much for being with us today as we celebrate Black History. Remember, it's not just a month, it's every day, it's all year long. And now, hopefully, you've thought a little bit about your own history, about your own migration, and some new and interesting things that you can do with your voice. Did y'all have a good time today? Let me hear you. All right. Did you have a good time? Okay, well, from the soul to the voice to the song, we got one more song for you. It goes a little something like this. Everybody, first of all, just say, one planet, one world, one people. Mr. Brian Dyer over here, can you kick this song off? Give it up for Brian Dyer, y'all. Come on. That's right. On the bass, all kinds of other instruments. And then over here we have Mr. Luke Monfrank. Give it up for Luke Mon.
Thank you. And that's Sunshine.
Hi.
Hey, hey, hey. We're not talking about taking away the very rights of the individual. No, no. We're just talking about being happy and free. Happy and free. We're not talking about taking away the very rights of the individual. No, no. We're just talking about being happy and free. Come on. United we'll be standing. Divided we will fall. Well, this is our favorite credo, known to one and all. My dream's to take this whole idea and make the whole world see. The sooner we get together, what a place this world could be. If we could stop all of those warring folks from fighting.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
eradicate the earth of war's disease. Denounce racism, bigotry, and lighting. One world's all we're given. It's time we start living in peace. One planet, one world, one people, one people, one planet, one world, one people, one people, one planet, one world, one people, one people, one planet, one world, one people, one people. We're not talking about taking away the very rights of the individuals. No, no. We're just talking about being happy and free.
Come on.
Whoa, 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 whoa. We're not talking about taking away the very rights of the individuals. No, no. We're just talking about being happy and free.
Peace, y'all.
See you later, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Peace.
Sing for your life.
Thank you, SoVoSó. What an amazing performance. And thank you to all of our students, teachers, and families. We would love to see how you're celebrating Black history. Tag us at Oakland Museum CA, hashtag OMCA, and show us all the ways that you're learning and celebrating Black history. Thank you so much for joining us, and we cannot wait to see you back at the museum soon. Bye.